For decades, one of the most sensitive questions in global politics has been this: why are China and Taiwan so divided, and what is the secret that keeps them apart? To answer this, we have to go back to the roots of history, peel back layers of identity, power, and economy, and uncover how two societies once the same grew into very different worlds, the beginning of the split. In the late 1940s, China was torn apart by civil war. Two forces were battling for control of the nation: the Chinese Communist Party, led by Mao Zedong, and the Nationalist Party, known as the Kuomintang KMT, led by Chiang Kai-shek. After years of fighting, the Communists won. In 1949, they declared the founding of the People's Republic of China in Beijing. The defeated nationalist government fled across the Taiwan Strait to the island of Taiwan, taking with them millions of soldiers, government officials, and civilians. This was the turning point. From that day, the mainland and the island walked separate paths that still shape the world today. Two systems, two futures. On the mainland, the Communist Party established a one-party state. Political power was absolute. The economy was state-controlled, and society was tightly managed. China became isolated from much of the world, focused on consolidating its revolution. In Taiwan, the nationalists at first ruled with an iron fist. Martial law lasted for decades, and freedom was limited. But over time, Taiwan transformed. In the 1980s and 1990s, it embraced democracy. Political parties multiplied, free speech became protected, and citizens began electing their leaders. This created the first major difference. China became a centralized one-party system. Taiwan became a democracy with multiple voices and open elections. The gap between control and choice grew wider with every decade. The question of identity. But politics was only the surface. Beneath it lies something deeper: identity. China insists Taiwan is part of its territory, calling it a breakaway province. Beijing argues that Taiwan has always been Chinese, and that reunification is a matter of national pride. Taiwan, however, has changed. Older generations may have remembered themselves as Chinese, but younger generations increasingly see themselves as Taiwanese. Polls show that most young people on the island do not want unification. They want to preserve their own culture, their democracy, and their way of life. So the secret difference is not just about land. It is about who people believe they are. For Beijing, Taiwan is unfinished history. For Taiwan, Beijing represents a future they want to avoid. The economic divide. Another key difference is economic. China is massive. Its economy ranks among the largest in the world. It is the world's factory, producing everything from electronics to clothing to machinery. Taiwan, in contrast, is much smaller, but it holds something China and the world cannot ignore: semiconductors. These are the microchips that power smartphones, cars, computers, and even advanced weapons. Taiwan's company TSMC produces over 60% of the world's supply of advanced chips. This makes Taiwan not just an island, but a global lifeline. If conflict were to cut off Taiwan's chip industry, the impact would shake the entire world economy. So while China has size and scale, Taiwan has technology and specialization. Each side holds a form of power that makes their divide even sharper. Military tensions. The difference is also visible in their militaries. China has built the world's largest army, with advanced missiles, modern warships, and a growing air force. Its military budget is second only to the United States. The goal, as many analysts see it, is to make China strong enough to intimidate Taiwan and discourage outside interference. Taiwan, however, has invested in defense. Its forces are smaller, but they are trained to resist invasion and make any military strike costly. Taiwan relies heavily on strategic defense systems, submarines, and the backing of allies, especially the United States. This creates a tense balance. China has overwhelming numbers. Taiwan has strategic defense and global attention. Every military exercise in the Taiwan Strait becomes a reminder of how fragile peace really is. The role of the world. The secret of their difference is not just between the two, it also involves the world. Most countries officially recognize only one China. This means they maintain diplomatic ties with Beijing, not Taipei. Yet many of these same countries, especially the United States, sell weapons to Taiwan and promise to support itself. This creates a strange balance. Taiwan is not fully recognized as a country by most of the world, but it is treated as one in trade, technology, and security. Beijing sees this as interference. Taiwan sees it as survival, culture, and society. The divide also shows up in daily life. In China, media, internet, and public expression are heavily controlled. The Communist Party maintains strict oversight. Citizens have limited ability to criticize the government openly. In Taiwan, freedom of speech, protests, and independent media are part of everyday life. People can challenge their leaders, form new parties, and debate openly. This creates two very different societies, one defined by control, the other by openness. The heart of the secret. So, what is the real secret of China and Taiwan's differences? It is not one thing. It is the combination of history, identity, politics, economy, and culture. It is the story of two sides that began together but grew apart, each believing in a different future. For China, Taiwan is unfinished business, a matter of national pride and sovereignty. For Taiwan, China is a threat to freedom and democracy. Both sides believe they are right. Both sides feel history is on their side. And that is why the divide is so difficult to resolve. Why it matters to the world. The secret is also this. The China-Taiwan divide is not just about them, it affects everyone. If China and Taiwan ever clash militarily, the consequences would spread far beyond Asia. The world economy would be shaken by the loss of Taiwan's semiconductor supply. Trade routes in the South China Sea would be disrupted. The involvement of the United States and its allies could spark a global conflict. In other words, the difference between China and Taiwan is not just a regional issue. It is a global risk, the future. So where does this leave us? China shows no sign of giving up its claim. Taiwan shows no sign of surrendering its freedom. The United States and other powers continue to walk a tightrope, trying to avoid direct war while still supporting Taiwan. The secret then is that the China-Taiwan question is not just about today, it is about tomorrow. It is about whether two very different systems can coexist side by side, or whether history will force them into confrontation. The world watches the Taiwan Strait not because it is a narrow stretch of water, but because it represents a crossroads of power, identity, and the future of international order. China and Taiwan share a history, a culture, and even bloodlines. But over 70 years of separation have created two societies so different that they now speak to the world in completely different voices. One demands unity, the other demands survival. One seeks control, the other seeks freedom. And until these secrets of difference are resolved, the Taiwan Strait will remain one of the most dangerous flashpoints on Earth.